just like that. Welcome everybody to the Agent Power Huddle. My name is Ed Laine. As you can tell by my background, I'm in Seattle and I host Agent Power Huddle every Friday and we do scripting on Fridays. And today we're actually going to do a deep dive on the psychology of persuasion for realtors. So I think this is going to be a good one. I'm actually excited to share it with you. So let me share my screen and we will dive in. Oop, I need a lot of clicks, sorry. All right. So, for those of you that have never met me, my name is Ed Laine. I'm a real estate broker. 2026 will be my 39th year in the business. I've sold over 3,000 homes. I also was a lender for 30 years. So I have a lot of experience both on the real estate side and the mortgage side. And it gives me perspective, but it also gives me scripts and dialogues because I like to be in any situation to feel the confidence that I can just pull a string and know exactly what to say to help the consumer, but also to get to the destination that we're trying to get to, which is buying or selling a house. And today we're going to focus on the psychology of persuasion because nobody wants to be persuaded, right? So you want to use a softer and more genteel approach when talking to your clients so that they don't feel like you've got commission breath, right? You guys have all heard that saying where the consumer thinks that all you care about is getting paid. And that can't be your approach to this business. It simply can't. You will not survive. You won't last. You have to genuinely want more for others than you want for yourself. And the beautiful thing about this industry and this business is if you take that approach, you'll actually enjoy significant wealth. Because if you think about it, real estate is the last uncapped income potential industry. Every other industry has some sort of ceiling, but not real estate. If you want to make more, you just do more. So that's a pretty cool circumstance that you find yourself in. But today is all about the key to how you should communicate. And we're going to cover some principles and I'm going to give you some examples, right? Now, why does this matter? Well, buyers and sellers aren't lacking information, right? They all have their phones, they all have the internet at their fingertips, but what they're lacking is certainty. And they aren't going to choose just the smartest agent. They're going to choose the agent that makes them feel the safest and the most comfortable. That's what we're focused on today, right? All these scripts are not about pressure, they're about leading. We're going to talk about forward pacing. We're going to talk about how to help people envision the destination. So let's talk about the first principle, right? Certainty calms anxiety because all we want as people, as consumers, is the predictability and safety of knowing where we're going, right? Knowing the destination. So as realtors, our job is to provide that clarity. You know, one of the dialogues I use all the time is you can't possibly chart a course or take a trip or plan on arriving at a destination without first knowing where you're starting from, right? Well, that's a great dialogue for getting somebody to see that they should talk to your lender. They should get pre-approved. Figure out where you're at financially so that we can help you get to the destination that you desire, which is buying a house, right? So let's use an example, right? Client says, well, we're just not sure if now's the right time. You can't say it is, you're wrong, right? But what you can say is, hey, I totally get it. Most people feel that way before making a big move. Here's the good news. I specialize in helping families make smart, safe decisions in markets just like this. Let me walk you through the 3 things that matter most so you can feel confident and not rushed. That's a very specific sentence, right? Let me walk you through the 3 things. They don't know what the 3 things are, but they're given peace of mind that you do, and you're going to explain them to them. Pretty simple nuance, right? But very effective. Let's look at the next principle. It's called pacing and leading, right? So you want to start where your client is, not where you want them to be or where you're trying to go. Pacing is validating where they are. Make them feel like they're in the right spot, right? Leading is guiding them to the destination. So you want to meet them where they are, validate where they are, and then guide them to the next step, right? And that last comment about clarity is explaining what all the steps are so that they have a more predictable outcome, right? Sorry, I just had to let somebody in. And without pacing, leading just feels like pressure, right? Come on. You don't want that. So remember, it's very subtle, it's very nuanced. So let's look at an example. Client says, we want to wait until spring. That's a common thing I'm hearing right now. Are you? Well, how might you pace that, right? A lot of people feel that way. Spring feels safer and more predictable. But what most people don't realize is buyers are already active now, and you may actually net more by being ahead of that curve. Do you want to see what it would look like for your home specifically? Right? Think about that. We covered this dialogue in a recent Agent Power Huddle, where I often say we target the 3rd Thursday of January every year. Do you guys realize I have 3 and possibly 4 listings going live on January 22nd? That's actually technically the 4th Thursday, and here's the reason why. The 3rd Thursday is the 15th, and that's still too early in the month. But here's what the dialogue sounds like. If you don't want to sell now, but you want to wait till spring, would you consider listing in January? Well, why should we do that? Here's what happens every New Year's. People wake up on New Year's Day hungover or tired, and they have their phone in their hand, and they start scrolling through Zillow or Redfin, and they think to themselves, or they say to their loved one, you know what, honey, this is going to be the year we're going to buy a house. And when we list on the 22nd, we're now on the leading edge of that wave of new inventory. There's less competition for us as sellers, but the buyers are already there. Another thing that I'll say to buyers is spring comes earlier to buyers than it does to sellers. That's why January makes so much sense, right? Sellers think of spring when the tulips bloom. That's March or April. But now you're in the thick of thousands of new listings when buyers are already looking in January, right? Principle number 3, we want to reduce perceived risk, right? Clients are always thinking, can I trust you? Are you the right person to help me, right? Is this going to hurt me financially? Could I make a mistake that's going to devastate my finances? And is this the safest choice for my family? So when you are able to convey that you're minimizing and reducing risk for the consumer, they're going to become your client faster. It's all about trust, right? People work with people they know, like, and trust. So what does that sound like? Well, seller might say, we're afraid to make the wrong move, right? To which you can respond, you should feel cautious because this is a big decision. That's exactly why I walk my clients through a step-by-step plan before they do anything. No pressure, no commitment, just clarity so that you can make the safest decision for your family. How does that sound? Right? People are going to feel like, okay, she's got a strategy. I want to hear what that is. And when I say the words no pressure, no commitment, that means they know they can listen and learn the strategy without having to hire me first. That's part of how I get hired. I show them my marketing system and my plan. If you go back through the Agent Power Huddle recordings, you'll find my listing presentation. Plagiarize it. Take what you like, get rid of what you don't like, whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of this organization is everybody's transparent and you can use what you like, make it better. If you make it better, share it back, right? All right. Principle number 4, future pacing. So future pacing helps the client feel the outcome, right? Sorry, somebody's knocking. Future pacing also will lower anxiety and create clarity, right? It helps them picture and visualize success. Think of it like Olympic athletes or any athlete. They go through their event in their head and they visualize a successful outcome. That's what future pacing is. And if you can help a consumer or help a prospect or help a client visualize the successful outcome, it makes them feel more comfortable and it makes that outcome more likely, right? So what does that sound like? Imagine 3 months from now, you're moved in, the stress is gone, and you're living in a home that fits your life. My job is to make the path to that moment as smooth and predictable as possible. Isn't that just comfy language, right? And I'm future pacing. I'm showing them, I'm helping them visualize what does that look like 3 months from now. That's super helpful with buyers, also with sellers though, right? They're in this situation where they're trying to jump from one lily pad to the next, and they're afraid of falling in the water in between. The more that you can demonstrate that you've helped people navigate that hundreds, if not thousands of times, and the more that you can paint with your words what that's going to look like in the smoothest scenario possible, that's going to give them comfort, right? You also want to sound credible. You want to be authoritative, but not sound arrogant, right? You don't need to brag, but you do need to own your experience. It'll come through in your tone, your confidence, and your clarity. Help people understand that you've been there before. That's one of the huge benefits I enjoy because of my 39 years in the business. I've seen it all. I've done it all. So when I'm talking to somebody that's in a certain circumstance, I can make them feel comfortable that I've navigated this circumstance before. So what do you do when you don't have 39 years? Well, if you're on a team, you can convey that my team has done this thousands of times and we're going to do it again, right? Or if you aren't on a team, but you have a mentor, or maybe you need to bring in a associate broker that's in your company that you want to share the commission with, but it helps you land the listing because they have the experience. There's a lot of different ways you can tackle this. There's certainly people that fake it till they make it as well, right? That's probably the most common. But that being said, they also have fallout, right? You can have a more secure approach if you're part of a team or have an associate broker that you can partner with. You also want to deliver the information very simply, plain language. There's a lot of studies, right? Like if you're using AI, have you ever said, now give me this output written for a third grader? I do that all the time because I want to have my marketing materials in plain English. That's why I do that. You should do the same thing, right? And you should be in the habit of speaking in that fashion. So what does that sound like? I've helped thousands of families through markets like this, including REO, foreclosure, high rate cycles, fast markets. What I've learned is simple. The right strategy always beats the right timing. Let me show you the strategy that protects you best. Now, some of you on this Zoom don't know me and know my experience. That first sentence is about me. You should write yours however your experience is. I've helped hundreds of family or dozens of family through markets like this, including high interest rates, low interest rates, bidding wars, stagnant inventory. Like we've had all of that just in the last 3 years. So you could rewrite the first sentence, but then leave the second sentence. What I've learned is simple. The right strategy always beats the right timing. Let me show you the strategy that protects you best. That second sentence is going to resonate. All the first sentence does is give context to the second sentence. So play with that. Here's the bottom line. A persuasive script will always include pacing, validation, reducing risk, providing certainty, and future pacing with a clear call to action at the end, right? That's what it takes. So let me give you a few examples of safety scripts. These are things you can say in the moment when it's appropriate, right? Validation starts with, I understand. Here's what most people don't realize. And then you can segue into the topic or address the topic. Or let me walk you through the safest path. Right? That's future pacing. Let me help you visualize the safest path. That's what they want, right? Picture where you want to be 90 days from now for sellers or buyers, right? I want to be in the home if I'm a buyer. I want to be out of the home if I'm a seller and into my next home, right? So here's what you guys should be focused on. Make them feel safe and they will choose you, right? If you master persuasion, you will master real estate. Plain and simple. Another plug for a quick resource. If you're new here, I created a custom GPT. Just go to whatwouldEdSay.com and plug in the scenario that you want to know what script I would use. You have to have a ChatGPT account, but it can be the free one. So go to whatwouldEdSay.com. If you can't find it, just go into the custom GPTs and search for Ed Laine. You'll find a few of them. This one is about scripting. I think it says Ed Laine Realtor, expert scripting or something like that. All right. We got 10 minutes left. I always try and leave time at the end to answer questions about what I've covered or kick around some different scenarios that you guys might be facing. So does anyone have any questions from the persuasion topic we covered today? Quiet group.
I do. I do.
Yay. How
Good.
are you, Allison?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So I talked to one of my sellers yesterday. Her sister wants to sell another place around in the same area,
Yeah.
sort of. And so I said, "Did you want me to meet your sister now that we're on market with you?" And she said, "Well, she's not sure if she wants to move to Colorado." I said, "Colorado? I thought she wanted to move to West Hollywood." And then she said, "Well, Erewhon's going in and she thinks the value will go up once Erewhon is built."
What's Air One?
Oh, Erewhon is that fancy high-end supermarket that they make fun of.
We don't have that up here, so I'm not.
Oh, they make fun of it like you buy a Erewhon salad for $400 and you know
Oh, geez.
yeah, it's like this high-end ridiculous place.
Wow.
It's not $400, but they make fun of it that way. There's a lot of videos.
That's a great scenario, Allison, because that ties in directly to what we just covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the script I would use with the current client about the sister is, hey, you at this point, you know me well enough to know that I'm never going to put pressure on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about educating them. So do you think it would be helpful for your sister to know what her property is worth in the current market so that she can decide where she wants to go?
Mm.
And then the client will say, let me ask her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like her hesitancy is she doesn't want to sick the dogs on her sister because her sister is still uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
Fact of the matter is Allison can provide clarity and value to help her make a decision. But you want to say it in a way so that they know if that clarity includes staying put, that Allison's okay with that, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
dialogue sounds like this. I like to help people make great decisions by giving them information. Even if that decision doesn't include using my services, I am totally okay with that because I know if I treat somebody with respect and give them good information, that they're going to think of me next time or they're going to think of me for their friends.
Also, honestly, I was going to say, and I said, we can wait. I said that to her. But I was thinking about writing her back and saying, um, if that is the only scenario that changes, yes, it could possibly bring up their value, but her value, but it might not be the only thing that changes. Interest rates could go up. There could, we couldn't predict COVID. There's so many other things that could change in the economy that could affect the value of the house. So, but
I
if
mean, you're sprinkling a little fear on her,
okay,
and that might work
not
against you, right? Because
okay,
remember, if I ever sprinkle fear on somebody, it's the decision maker. I never do it through a proxy.
okay.
And so sprinkling fear on your current client to share that with her sister won't be shared the same way you shared it, right?
Plus, I don't want to come from fear. I'd rather you just said safety is what they're looking for. So
Right, right.
good
The
point.
other thing that's worth talking about when you have somebody that is hesitant to refer you is the means by referral, right? Or the
Oh,
method that they refer you with, or the medium is probably the best word. So um, I've said, are you comfortable giving me her number?
mhm.
No. Okay. How about you send her an email and CC me? That way she can guard when and if she gives me her number.
Okay.
But that allows me to be in direct communication and start conveying benefit on the sister
Mhm.
over the email, right?
Okay.
And you'll find that another dialogue that works really well in this circumstance is, hey, Susie, you know me. I'm never going to be pushy or put pressure on anybody. but I want you to refer me in a way that's most comfortable for you.
Okay.
And then you can segue into, are you comfortable texting both of us? I mean, texting both of us is the best because now I've got the cell number for the other person, right?
Mhm.
But they may not be comfortable with that. So then downshift to email.
She did say, she said, I'll invite her over to your open house at our place because I've got, her place listed and I'm sitting it open this weekend. She said, I'll say, come take a look at my paint job.
There you go. So
So I said, okay.
she's advocating for you. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So,
just got to go slow enough that
mhm,
she doesn't feel put the
yeah.
switch, you know?
And I also found out this was kind of an important piece of information. Autism runs in their family. And the sister that I don't know if the sister that is going to sell is autistic on some range of the spectrum, but the one I was talking to told me she's on the spectrum, and I had no idea. So I was just asking her questions about it. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So
She could be on the Elon Musk end of it.
yeah. So and I said, what made you think that you were? I said, I have no idea about any of this. So she allowed me to ask some questions. So that was nice. I
Yeah.
still couldn't tell, but they're it's really a nice family. So
That's good. That tells me that the level of trust with the current client is extremely high. And that's, because she's telling you something that is
hmm
a family secret, basically.
hmm yeah. So it was good. It was a good conversation I had last night.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have a scenario that they want to brainstorm? We got a couple minutes left.
I have a question.
Yeah. Hi, Christina.
Hey there, Ed. So just what you said, like in Allison's scenario,
Mhm.
let me just talk to this. You didn't say it that way, but like, would she like to know what's the value of her house, right? And that's how you would script it. So in
Yeah.
my case, per se, I am new, right? And I'm not afraid, but usually people say, well, if you knew, and I can just go to Zillow and look at Zestimate, right? That's how they see the value of their houses. So what should I say in
Mhm.
this case, knowing that, I'm at the weakest, like providing that
I love
value, right?
I
And
love this scenario, Christina. So let's role
awesome.
play it. You tell me that you're just going to go to Zillow and get your Zestimate, and I'll give you the script that I use every single time.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
I'll just browse on Zillow and just see what it's worth.
Oh, you're serious?
Yeah.
That you're asking a computer to tell you what your house is worth. That's not a good idea. Have you ever looked at Zillow's disclosure page on their website?
No, what does it say?
It says that the Zestimate, which by the way is an algorithm, it's not somebody with years of experience telling you what your home is worth, but their disclosure page says the Zestimate is wrong by at least 10% over 62% of the time. And it's
Oh,
wrong by
wow.
20% over 30% of the time. It's a meaningless number, but they've
Oh,
done a
wow.
masterful job of getting the consumer to start there. But if you want to genuinely know what your home is worth, let me come over and take a look at it.
Okay, that sounds
And,
good. And in this
and
case, if I'm new, right?
if
Like I
you're
don't have
new,
years of experience to
the dialogue is exactly the same.
the same.
You make fun of the Zestimate and how meaningless that is. And if they want to really know what their home is worth in this market is a really important section of that dialogue because people will feel like they've known their home's value, but they don't know what it is today. And the current
Mm.
market has a great influence on that. So if you want to know what your home is worth in this market, I just need to come over and take a look at it. When's a good time? And then because Christina is brand new, she's part of the Ed Laine team. So for those of you that aren't, you'll understand why I'm saying this. Uh, just shoot a ton of photos and then we'll jump on our morning huddle and do a CMA together, right? And then you can go and deliver the CMA, and I'll give you more scripts and dialogues to use.
Okay, that was super helpful.
The A in Zillow stands for accuracy. I love that. I've never heard that, Allison. Because there isn't an A in Zillow. Does everyone get that? All right, we've reached the bottom of the hour. I hope you guys got some value out of this, and I hope you really take to heart the persuasion principles that I shared, because I think this
Good
was
morning.
a good topic. Have a great day, everybody.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.